Right, you're welcome back, and it's the usual suspects ready to bring you all the headlines. Hello.
Oh, hello, guys.
Nice to see you, but sad about the circumstances. We'll give you our condolences.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh.
I am here to do the newspapers and the newspapers only.
Last night we watched while you were bereaved 3 times.
For real?
Yes, and
really?
Your Ebusia Penny Jose Mourinho
was
crying mama like a baby.
And, he walked out of a news conference.
Yes.
That was rude.
And we just want to extend our...
There's nothing new about him that you guys don't know, so I really don't know what you're talking about right now.
We are simply stating what happened.
Your Brazilian player you were talking about yesterday, he looked more like a Togolese.
I thought you were exactly.
Fred.
Suddenly.
With friends like...
He looked so ordinary. I was thinking
enemies.
Maybe we went across the border to export him.
All right, if you've just joined us, you missed the news, but you've made it in good time for the newspapers.
Yeah.
Let's do the newspapers.
I love all
now.
that confidence.
Yes. You've made it in
I know it's
good
a charade you want to cover up, but Charlie,
You've made it in good time.
Okay,
it's not nice. You know, I woke up this morning and apparently now YouTube, you can just subscribe and they give you
Roland,
all this.
We have very limited time to do the
we have 31.
newspapers.
Let's use 1 more minute.
Speak forth.
Well, just on then I kept getting these, they give you these notifications.
Yes.
And I have Manchester, I'm a Chelsea fan, but I have Manchester, solidarity.
Oh,
I love
yes,
this. They said, 03. I said, what is 03? 03. I watched the video. Now, I watched the goals, highlights. Then I watched Mourinho pouncing out of the press conference. I said, the usual Mourinho. Apparently, it's the 3rd year. You know, each time he goes to a club, the 3rd year he's in a bubble.
Okay.
He's in a bubble.
Right
he's
now,
in a bubble.
we're not doing sports. I don't know why Patrick Gomez is allowing you to talk sports.
We have 10 seconds
So
now.
let's do the newspapers. Thank you, Patrick. I love you this morning. Let's run you through what's making headlines. The Finder newspaper, front page of the Finder. Ministry mutes over digital migration. GIBA's litany of questions remains unanswered. Shoemakers impregnating homeless girls, according to claims by a certain boy. I'll tell you a bit about it in the paper. Freight forwarders strike against CTN. Nanado rallies Nigeria to join Continental Free Trade Area. And Kwapa Koko charts new course for sustainable development. That's what's making front page headlines. The Finder newspaper. Let's follow that up with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Book of condolence in memory of Kofi Annan closes Friday. President urges Nigeria to support Africa's single market. Kolibu Teaching Hospital gets new CEO. Don't interfere with education system. Mathematics professor cautions politicians. Is Professor Sichofa Enyonam Anku on the front page of the paper, and on the back page, PFJ major tool for poverty reduction. Denying women fertile land contribute to food insecurity, according to a certain research.
Insecurity? Ooh. Is that Manchester accent?
You guys are confusing me this morning.
You can take a look at the Daily Guide now. Okay. The front page of the Daily Guide, it says, NDC shops for chairman. There's a photograph of Dr. Benjamin Kumbo. There is Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, Betty Maud Idrisu, and Professor Kwesi Botwe, who we now know has stated that he's not contesting for chairman, even though someone has picked the phone.
Was the statement so clear? Maybe when we get into the details of the
we can look at that. Martin Amidu goes wild over suspicious cash, and man arrested over journalist murder. Nana rocks Nigeria at Abuja Bar Conference, also on the front page. You can quickly do that of the Daily Heritage. It says NDC will win 2020 polls, says Kwabotwe teacher as he joins race for Deputy Central Regional Secretary. Immediately I said as he joins race, Kojo and Roland were wondering which race that was. That's for
What's his name?
The name Eric Ofe. He's an aspiring NDC deputy.
Mr. Eric Ofe, good morning to you.
And good
but he
luck
teaches us in Fansipim, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you taught at St. Augustine's, that would have,
1 in 4 married women use contraceptives is also according to the Ghana Statistical Service. 1 in 4
Only
married. 1 in 4 married women.
Yeah, that's low.
Use contraceptives.
Yeah. That's low.
Yeah, so that is it for the Daily Heritage. The back page.
Contraceptives, condom. Apart from condom, what else? You took contraceptive.
Oh,
You're
there are
asking how
several
will I
of them.
know?
You know, there are coils.
I want to believe that
pill.
not many women will use the female condom.
We are talking about
No,
married
male.
women, by the way. Like
But
married
if-
women.
No, it's
I
just
found
married
them,
women, and then you're talking
But
about.
if I'm the one using it, the female too is still using it. So apart from condom,
The
what
last
else?
time I checked, we're still just reviewing the headlines.
All right, so we continue. The Daily Dispatch newspaper. They don't have a sports section. I thought I'll find Manchester United, but they have Professor Jimabwedi speaking on new and former EC bosses and the 110 ministers. You have his picture there, Professor Jimabwedi. Kwesi Botwe and 4 others to contest NDC slot. Nope. Yes. Nope. And then Dr. Afriyie on media, monocracy and vigilantism. But guess what? Most popular clubs in the world. Real Madrid is first, Arsenal is second, and Manchester United is third.
Yeah, whether you like it or yes.
Is it because of the 3 goals? Anyway.
I think so.
Okay.
Then I have the Today newspaper, and I'll tell you a bit about this. It's been on social media as well as mainstream media. I'm not dead, Neo Kaija the third, but the main story: Duncan Williams blasts Otabill's critics. Judge not, or you'll be judged.
No, shut up.
Shut up,
Yeah.
or you'll be shouted at.
Plus judge not or you be judged. But mainly shut up.
So wait, hang on.
Shut your big mouth.
Okay, shut up, Kojo. God is good.
Judge not, for God is good. UTE boss accused of money laundering. You have a picture there of Prince Kofi Amwabing, the UTE boss. I will serve my father's Kentucky Tekuchuru the second. We have this picture there as well. So basically, those are the stories of the papers I have. The Today newspaper and the Daily Dispatch.
Let me take a quick trip through the Daily Graphic. GES to recruit 8,872 staff. The exercise takes off in September this year, and we'll be learning more about it this morning, won't we? Also, President advocates for free education in all African countries.
I think, is this Senegal?
Pardon?
Senegal or Sierra Leone? One of the two. They're also doing the free schooling system.
And the president advocates
There is
for
an
it
S.
in all
Let me
African
get it right.
countries.
Senegal, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Sierra Leone. Yeah.
Got to be one of
Yes,
them.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Not Seychelles.
No,
Still
no,
part
no.
of Africa.
No, yeah, but Senegal or Sierra Leone. I think it's Sierra Leone now.
Yeah, sure, it's not the Sahara Desert. Okay, so yeah, President is advocating for free education in all African countries, and there's something of the Nkrumah about that, you know, call to bring good things to the whole continent rather than just to Ghana, right?
Yeah.
The freedom of education in Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the absolute freedom of
Education in all other places on the continent.
Thank you very much, you Pan-Africanist. Also, Consolidated Bank offloads 1,700 workers. The process is to end by September 30. So they'll be sacking 1,700 of the workers they inherited from the 5 collapsed banks.
But which would have sold better? Consolidated Bank sacks 1,700 workers. Process ends by September 30.
The last time we checked, you're not editing for the Daily Graphic. Could you finish?
But when you say sold better, you know, you mean which one would people?
Sacks.
Yeah, you mean which one would sell more?
Will attract
Is
more.
that part of the review?
Okay.
Look,
I
he
thought-
can't switch off his public relations brain sometimes. Also, and did I finish? One more from the back page. Ghana to get £20 million from the UK. Ghana beyond aid. Confusion hits ports over
You had to
CTN.
chip that in.
But why not? Confusion hits ports over CTN. Leadership by example. Why Control and Accountant General's war against fraudsters is a good cause. And underfunding of judiciary undermines output, according to a Supreme Court judge. Also, Farmers Market opens 4th retail outlet and counting. And I believe this is the one in Shiashi, which I visited yesterday. Or actually, no, is it Shiashi? Yes. East Legon, same one. Yes, so I went there yesterday. Very nice. I bought myself some fruit. Does any of you like strawberries?
You want to buy strawberry?
Yes, yes.
Where do they grow strawberries in Ghana?
No, they are not grown in Ghana.
Oh, I wanted to know because it's African market. What is it? Is it
No,
farmers
it's called
market?
Farmers Market.
So I thought maybe Ghana farmers market.
They didn't
So
say that.
You mean we don't grow strawberries here?
We could, but we don't.
Actually, you could have bought pineapples or oranges or something.
But I like strawberries.
I was like, you want Prof some crab.
Ah, Nazania down there. What kind of abrofosem again? Go and eat it and tell me if you won't like it too.
Yeah.
And on that note, the final bunch of headlines are from that. You've seen people eat it on YouTube.
I've never seen some around before. I mean, clearly. Okay, let's go.
Oh, gosh. All right. Okay. So, finally, headlines from the Daily Statesman. And Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire fight cocoa disease. YouTube then. Also, Ghana NPP Celebrates Busia. That's today, by the way. The Speaker of Parliament will be delivering an address to commemorate today's celebration.
Why don't you have a holiday for him?
You'd like another holiday?
Yeah, why not?
I don't think so.
Maybe we can have a vote here. Senator Kwadwo, the president, to endorse.
I wonder whether perhaps we've measured our productivity on a working day and compared it to a holiday and realized that the difference isn't that much. Anyway, finally, uphold rule of law. President charges African lawyers. And there you go. Those are the headlines. Which story shall we do?
I would want to do
Duncan
the NDC
Williams.
one first, or you want Duncan? NDC first.
So which paper? Daily Guide?
Daily Guide,
All
yes.
right.
The story is on page 3. It says NDC shops for chairman. The opposition National Democratic Congress is desperately shopping for a suitable party guru to vie for the position of national chairman, as the party appears to be settling on John Mahama as flag bearer. So it says currently the NDC's director of elections. That is okay. So this is what the paper says. Since you said Professor Prof. Currently, NDC's director of elections, who supervised a disastrous general election in 2016. Well, I'm reading for the paper. Why you are? The way you are moving closer, it's like you are suspecting I'm saying it myself. I'm reading.
Are you sure the paper said that?
Oh, Mama, don't look at it.
Mama,
I don't doubt you. Don't mind him. Go ahead.
Okay, who supervised a disastrous general election in 2016? Someone for Swampofo. Former NDC General Secretary Hudu Yaya, and former Trade and Industry Minister and former NDC MP for Keta, Dan Abudakwi, who was once jailed for causing financial loss to the state, have all shown interest in the chairmanship race. We know a bit about Professor Kwesi. He has released a statement saying that he didn't authorize anyone to pick the form on his behalf, so we can take him out. But
is it true that in the statement he said that he's going to hunt for whoever went to pick?
Yes, and hand over that individual to the National Executive Committee. But more importantly, he concludes by saying that
for disciplinary actions or prosecution.
So let me read the statement.
Okay.
Here's the statement. The office of Professor Kwesi received with surprise the news being carried by my Joy Online news portal that he has picked a form to contest for the office of National Chairman in the upcoming NDC Congress, slated for later this year. The office want to put it on record that Professor Kwesi has not authorized any person to pick a form on his behalf, or has he ever considered contesting for the office of NDC National Chairman. We consider this act by some faceless people as desperate, wicked, and devious, with the intent of portraying him as inconsistent with his decisions and a deliberate attempt to create confusion in the mind of his teaming supporters. The office shall investigate and report this conduct to the National Executive Committee to bring to book the persons behind this desperate conduct to book. In the coming days, Professor Kwesi shall publicly declare his intention and the capacity in which he will decide to lead the party for Victory 2020. We want to assure our teaming supporters that Professor Kwesi remain resolute to the agenda agreed on. Yeah. I don't know how you want to interpret this. So
what's he contesting for in the party?
He hasn't
clearly
said,
not
he
chairman,
says in the coming days.
but for the national executive positions that are available, you know that they've closed nominations, so those ones are out. So he leaves him with two options. Either he's a flag bearer or he will be someone's running mate. Those are the two options that is left. But I mean...
So it means that from the statement, do you get the inclination that he will be contesting for something?
Yes,
yeah, that's not in doubt. And it's a leadership position. He says he wants to lead the party into victory.
But is he not the gentleman who led the committee that went round and they did the document that is now
the Kwesi report
out of public view?
Officially, it wasn't supposed to be the Kwesi report, but apparently we, the media, decided to make it the Kwesi report.
Only that he led the committee.
He led the committee that toured the country. But I'm not too sure about whether what his performance will be if he contests for the flag, whether he stands a chance. That is what I'm driving at.
Is he in touch with the grassroots of the party?
That's a big question. That's a big question. He has been someone who has been a bit far removed from the politics of the NDC I'm sure a lot of people who...
You're talking about, as in the media or the public, what you see.
Someone you identify with the party, at least even when they were in government, you don't. If you compare him to someone like Owusu Ampofo, that Roland mentioned, I mean, he's a grassroots party person. He has been part of the election at least for some time now.
Yeah. He started from appointed a DCE. He was once a DCE, became Eastern Regional Minister, then became a minister, then became a party person.
But it's a bit about flag bearer, so you never know. I know
Can I just say that I would love to see Professor Kwesi Botwe in the midst of all the...
I think they're becoming too many. After the NPP 17, before the 2007
2008 election. That's for ahead of the 2008.
It was the primaries in 2007. It looks like the political party phase of our country has not been able to accommodate those number of candidates in a way. For example, if you go to the DR Congo, those interested in contesting the presidential elections are around 25, we're told. Now, if you take a look at the NDC and what they're going through, it's not the same like the media had portrayed when so-called the NPP had been clamoring for that transition after President Kufuor for the next candidate, in which President Kufuor had won. So perhaps maybe they can find some good way to try to mend fences, because clearly we have 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 3 of them who are said to be interested: Betty Modi, Drusu, Samuel Owusu Ampofo, and Benjamin Kombo. I think that...
Are you talking about presidential
I'm talking
aspirants, or you're talking about the chairmanship position?
I'm talking about who to lead the NDC, whether as chairman and then also as president.
But I know some few individuals who Professor Botwe thought back at the University of Ghana. I'm told in the 70s and 80s he was a big deal in terms of Ghanaian politics and those who...
No, he was.
But I mean,
you are younger, so perhaps you may not know.
He actually was a lecturer around the time my uncle was at the university, and he tells me that he was one of those lecturers that was more or less considered by students to have huge opinions that he expressed.
I think very popular among students. Generally, as Ghanaians, we would have loved to hear him on a lot of things.
Yeah, but he just decided to stay off. But I think the chairmanship race of the NDC will be interesting. Kumbo.
All right, we have to leave the NDC matters here and look at other stories. So the final newspaper on page 2 is this story about the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, including us, been left in the dark as the Ministry of Communications remains mute over some critical concerns confronting Ghanaian broadcasters in analog mode migrating to digital terrestrial television, which is popularly referred to as DTT. The broadcasters are worried about the lack of a clear roadmap, governance and management structure, the timeline for migration, as well as allegations that Star Times, a player in the industry, is involved in network expansion process of DTT against agreed principles. Other issues raised border on stalled process of forming public-private partnership between GIBA and Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, as well as no clear guidelines on pricing and cost modalities, among others. So letters written by GIBA seeking clarification on many issues, all of which have been pending for some time now, have not received reply from the Communication Ministry. An effort by the finder to seek explanations from the ministry on GIBA's concerns also proved futile, as the ministry declined comments despite promising earlier to respond. So there's a proper breakdown of all the issues in the final newspaper. I think Elvis did a fantastic job. You can read all about it and see where we are. There were promises, I think, back in 2015 that we were going to go digital. We were supposed to be following the world, and then the world left us behind somehow. And the conversation has been going on and on and on and on and on, and every day one story or the other. So this is where we are. Catch up on page 2 in the final newspaper. And then I think one more story. This is about the shoemakers who impregnate girls and then abandon them. That story is on page 14. A bit of it. It says a self-confessed individual among a syndicate of shoemakers involved in impregnating homeless girls in the capital cities Emmanuel Amankoa has revealed the modus operandi of the street boys. He has explained what exactly is forcing them into the acts and why many of their victims are often abandoned after discovery of pregnancy. Speaking in an interview with the finder, the homeless cobbler, who also taken to alcoholism, said homeless and unnoticed shoemakers in the country who are sleeping in makeshift structures across the country have developed the culture of impregnating voiceless and homeless girls and leaving them to manage it. It's quite extensive, the write-up.
This is trouble. This is worrisome.
Yeah, it is.
And depending on the age of these children, these girls, each and every one of these cases could be statutory rape. And you see, it's not about whether it's shoemakers or what, whoever is responsible. We ought to be paying attention to each one. I actually think that no matter how poor a country is, one of the things which you don't really need money in order to do well is protect children. You know, and in Ghana, I still fail to see our excuse for allowing some of these things to happen. We simply don't care enough about these things, and so they happen. Whether they are homeless or whether they are living with family members and are being abused, as a nation, we really ought to pay a little bit more attention to what is happening to our children and who is doing it to them.
I agree.
You know, it really brings up a lot of emotion when I hear stories like this. It does make me sad. I hope that this boy's what this boy has revealed doesn't just end up being a headline that flashes in the pan and nobody does anything about it. Does somebody care?
The selection of the word impregnates, I'm not too sure, but it doesn't suggest it's defilement or rape.
Is the age?
Yeah, but
you
still
see,
impregnating and abandoning the girls.
And that in itself is a problem. Right. But also, if the girl is below a certain age, then it's statutory rape anyway. You know, and that, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. That, you know, vulnerable children, underage children being impregnated, you know, that is right there. As soon as you see the pregnancy, that is evidence that somebody has raped this child because they are below the age. That's the technical term for it. It's defilement, it's rape. You know, so we really need to pay more attention to these matters.
Okay. Any of you want to pick up from there?
Well, before
I want to hear about this one.
Duncan. Duncan Williams
paper, please.
plus Otabel's critics is on page 3 of the Today newspaper, Truth and Enlightenment. And Duncan Williams is bringing to us Truth and Enlightenment. Founder and General Overseer of the Christian Action Faith Ministries, has advised Christians bashing the founder and General Overseer of the ICGC over the collapse of the Capital Bank to shut their big mouths up. And the other quotes, it says, I want to caution every Christian to shut your mouth. Bible says, judge not, and you may not be judged. So shut your mouth.
Is that how he said it?
But the voice is amazing. Stop talking about things you don't understand. Christians, you talk too much. Shut your mouth. Tell somebody. Shout your big one.
He didn't say shouts. He said shut.
Shut your mouth.
If I was in a church, I wouldn't have responded.
You're a devil. You're a devil.
Aren't you
Stop
a
behaving.
Listen, I hear that a lot more happen in the church than the headline that we seem to be giving it.
What else happened?
So
I haven't finished the quote. So
okay, you finish.
According to the Christian leader, somebody asked me, "What do you think?" And I say, I don't think anything. I don't understand. I don't know the details. So let the authorities handle the situation. You have been watching Animal Farm and National Geographic TV. So you don't know what's been happening in Ghanaian media. And then he says, I'm saying that to Christians. As for unbelievers and worldly people, they have the right to talk. But for us Christians, which church do you attend? Because so far you haven't, so you're an unbeliever. So far,
I fellowship with a mega church. That's one? Lighthouse, yeah.
Okay. Your buildings are nice.
Maybe another day. I thought your church was Lighthouse Chapel.
But for us Christians, we are under God's constitution. Oh, them. Ghanaians responded to Otabel's God is good comment from a session, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Nothing. No comment.
No, I thought you said other things happened in the church that you were going to.
I don't have to reveal that to you, gentlemen.
Okay, in that case, I will comment. So I'm a Christian. And I've been asked to shut my big mouth.
So you feel that he was talking to you?
No, I am a Christian. And he said he's talking to Christians.
Okay.
So it's not my feeling here. He says he's talking to me and asking me to shut my big mouth. Pastor
in context.
Yes, when it comes to speaking about
because
Dr.
there's a
Mensah
lot that you
Otabil.
don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
so when it comes to speaking about Dr. Mensah Otabil, I should shut my big mouth because I'm a Christian. I remember Dr. Mensah Otabil himself said that when Christians become born again, they become idiots. You know, they don't use their brains. So I heard his congregation, Archbishop Duncan Williams' congregation, responding when he said, tell your neighbor, shut your big mouth. They all turned to their neighbors and told them to shut their big mouths. And you see, this is a problem for me because Archbishop Duncan Williams is one of the people I love and respect so highly in this country, just like Dr. Mensah Otabil, whose lessons have steered and shaped my life. But I don't know why that has anything to do with whether or not he and his church, as shareholders of Capital Bank, did something wrong. That has nothing to do with who they are and what they've done. We have laws in this country. Those laws must be allowed to act. And we have seen reports that suggest wrongdoing. All we have to do is wait for the investigation to either
Isn't that exactly what the Archbishop was saying?
No, he says we should shut our mouths. That is very different from analyzing the situation. So what he's saying is that we see the reports. We look at it and say, oh, okay, it involves a Christian. So let's not talk about it. Let's shut our mouths and move on. That's what he's asking us to do.
God is good.
Yeah, because God is good. Mama B, do you accept to do that? From now on, any story that comes up that involves a Christian.
No, I'm not conflicted. My interpretation
is
totally different from yours.
This is but we don't
have a lot of time. My
any story that involves a Christian.
Do you have a story
opinion
we have to go to
my understanding of what the Archbishop said is not exactly your understanding.
This one only 2 minutes.
Let me do this one. Consolidated Bank offloads 1,700 workers. The process will end by September 30. So 700 of them work for Beige Bank. They were mobile bankers for Beige Bank. They are all gone. They are gone by the end of this month.
So those are the contract workers?
Yes. And then 1,000 workers of the other banks, the other 4 banks, will be gone by the end of September, according to the Daily Graphic newspaper. Now, that will bring to a total of 3,000 people who have lost their jobs as a result of the collapse of these 7 banks. I will now shut my mouth.
Yeah, because God is good.
Let's do online real quick. MyJoyOnline.com.
I hope that this story doesn't find its way online.
Mahama is NDC's best hope. Will garner more than 85% of votes at primaries. That is what ABA Husseini said, and I have a feeling he said it amidst several proverbs and such. Okay, IMF commends Bank of Ghana. Where are we going? There we are. IMF commends Bank of Ghana for banking sector cleanup. They seem to be happy with it. Bank of Ghana makes major changes at top management level. And I would like to know the details of those changes and whether people have actually been sacked or simply moved around like several pieces on a chessboard. IFEST threatens to sue NTC if it fails to license teachers by the end of 2018. Also, leave out cathedral from list of wasteful expenditures, Dr. Frimpong Manso says. Okay, so give us the rest of the list, Dr. Frimpong Manso. Acre Energy finalizes agreements to commence operations here in Ghana, and the Deputy Energy Minister tells us that. Also, Kwesi Botwe lambasts faceless people, in quote, for picking chairmanship form. And finally, that's my opinion. In the absence of guilt and shame, this is a great piece. Go and read it. Find out what Nana Ansakwao IV, leader of the little republic within a republic of Edumasa, is saying on myjoyonline.com. And here's the top story. Seek advice on eligibility to contest 2020 polls. Professor Jampo advises Mahama. I thought this thing had been put to bed.
Which one? The little republic?
The eligibility of...
all right, let's do international. And we'll pick the story from Twitter. It's one of the trending stories, not one that is exciting. In Morocco, there's a 17-year-old who was abducted, gang raped by 13 men, and then they forcibly also tattooed her and burned her with cigarettes. So they wanted to let her always remember what they did to her. It's really sad, but this is also generating anger in Morocco. And some people, 12,000 people, have signed a petition by early Monday demanding the government of King Mohammed VI provide the girl with urgent medical and psychological care after a video of her testimony went viral. Okay, so that's that story in Morocco, and it's that's it. So they use the cigarette butt to do that on her body.
That's horrifying.
This is incredible.
God,
so we hope that the Moroccan government will actually do something about this. This is
terrible.
Yeah, but this is something that apparently they say happens a lot. And then let's cross over and talk about the UK. Because the UK Prime Minister Theresa May is visiting some 3 African countries. She's in South Africa Tuesday, she's in Kenya, and then she crosses to Nigeria.
Right.
As where they say this is like a Brexit kind of, but what can Africa offer you when China is already heavily investing here?
Well, they are giving us 20 million pounds to implement jobs and economic transformation program.
20 million pounds.
Which one is that?
Good luck. There are a lot of the African countries who do business with Europe. So Europe and the UK. UK is now different. As in the European Union, and then the UK. Which one would be a bigger market? So
but we also know France.
Good luck to Madame Theresa May.
Anyway, I have a surprise for you, Roland.
Wow.
Have a look at. We have one more story.
Yes,
first.
Bobby Wine, because we talked about him, the musician MP in Uganda. The court has finally freed him. Here's the video that we want to share with you. Okay, so a judge in Uganda has granted bail to popular musician turned politician Bobby Wine and 32 opposition politicians who are facing treason charges. So basically that's the story. First he was in the grips of the army. He was freed and quickly rearrested, and then he was charged, I think with the, and then now he's been freed. So that's him. He was beaten so badly. The army denied.
Beaten to pulp,
So that's
shocking. Anyway, Roland, I have a surprise for you before we go. Since you say you've never had a strawberry before, I put together something rather special for you.
Why just Roland?
Why, you've also never had a strawberry before?
I share similar sentiments.
And you are here in Ghana?
I haven't had a strawberry before.
Mama B has had strawberries before. She can't pretend. She can't pretend. Let's watch it. Let's check this out.
It is the middle of what's commonly known as Harmattan season in West Africa, where dry desert winds from the Sahara blow across this entire region with a vengeance. You probably wouldn't be mistaken by thinking that nothing could possibly grow here. But you would be very mistaken. Now, despite the extreme temperatures and only one rainy season that extends from June to October, the Burkinabe have been able to harvest some of that rainwater and grow everything from garden vegetables to a fruit that would be considered strange and even alien in a desert environment, namely...
Sorry, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. We were going to show you some wonderfully luscious looking strawberries grown right here in Burkina Faso, our neighbors to the north.
Sub-Saharan,
indeed. Horrible weather conditions in Burkina Faso, but they're still able to grow beautiful strawberries.
We can't grow tomatoes, right?
We can't grow anything.
All right,
we can't grow anything. But Roland, so
we
if
grow
you want
tomatoes.
If
you
want
can't say we can't grow anything.
If you want some strawberries, when I say we can't grow anything, of course I'm being comparative. What I'm saying is we can't grow anything in sustainable quantities in order to build an industry out of it.
We don't like anything ourselves.
Okay, let me just remind you that we have a conversation with the GES. They're recruiting now. How? We will know when they join us. Stay with us. We've got sports coming up next. It's painful. Are they going to show us the 3-0 again?
He had to.